Welcome to Trashmagination, a podcast about reimagining trash. I'm Carla Brown. This week's episode is about plastic bread tags or clips. Those are those little squares or rectangles of plastic with a divot cut out of them, which are usually found on bags of store-bought bread. I'm wondering if there are other words for these things in your culture. Let me know what you call it if it's not bread tags or bread clips, but I'm going to call them bread tags in this episode. Now, many years ago, I vaguely remember a quilt that featured bread tags sewn into little pockets of sheer fabric, but I cannot find that quilt through any online search. I'm not even sure at this point if it was a real quilt or if I dreamt it. If that description reminds you of a real quilt, please let me know. I've been holding off on doing this podcast episode until I found it, but I've been looking for a super long time, so I'm going to put it out into the universe and see if anyone remembers it. Now, where do bread tags come from? The company which makes bread tags in the United States is called Quick Lock, and it's located in Yakima, Washington. Bread tags are made from polystyrene or type 6 plastic. In last week's podcast episode, I talked about clamshell packaging, which is also type 6, but it's usually transparent, and many municipalities do not accept this plastic in their waste stream. Bread tags would definitely count as contamination in your recycling bin because they are too tiny to be caught by the recycling sorting machines and could even cause them to break. So it's important to find creative reuse ideas for bread tags. But, of course, even better, it would be great if we could bring our own bags when we buy bread and then we don't need bread tags at all. I personally haven't started doing this yet, but there's a story from Bea Johnson in her book Zero Waste Home. She made a bread bag from a recycled sheet, and when she arrives at Whole Foods, she goes straight to the bakery and she asks them to bake her bread while she shops, and then she picks it up before they put it in the packaging. So that's a cool idea to avoid gathering bread tags at all. Now, I'm going to talk about where you could send bread tags rather than throwing them out. If you are in South Africa, there is an organization called Bread Tags for Wheelchairs. They gather bread tags and they sell them to recyclers for money to buy wheelchairs. The organization's founder, Mary Honeybun, says it takes 600,000 bread tags to buy one wheelchair. That seems like an awful lot. But then imagine if all those bread tags were just going into the trash and not getting recycled at all. I'm going to put a video of Mary Honeybun in the show notes, and it's a great video. You should see all the volunteers sorting the tags into bread bags and then weighing them. The organization collected 5 tons of bread tags in 1 year. And here's what Mary says at the end of the video. Service to others is the rent that we pay for our place on earth. Wow, what a great story. In the United States, an organization called Danielle Cares for Chairs also collects bread tags in order to fundraise for wheelchairs. In May 2018, the organization set a record for making the world's longest chain of bread tags with a huge group of volunteers. It was more than 1,100 yards long. The founder, Danielle Rothschild, started her project when she was in high school. She made a trash fashion dress from 5,000 bread tags to compete in a state contest for creative reuse. The event was through an organization called the Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America. And you know, I get so excited about any contest related to creative reuse. So I will link to info about that contest in the show notes. It was one I had not heard of before. So she started collecting the tags to make her dress, but the collection process went so well that she received 40,000 bread tags, and she realized that she needed to find another use for them beyond her dress, and that's when she learned about the organization in South Africa called Bread Tags for Wheelchairs, and she decided to follow their example. Now, I want you to think about if just these 2 organizations are literally gathering tons of bread tags. Imagine how many end up in landfill or in the ocean. In Australia, I found 2 artists who are currently gathering bread tags to make installations. The first one is called the Bread Clip Appreciation Society, and the second one is the Bread Tag Project. And I will link to their contact information in the show notes if you're in Australia and you want to send them your bread tags. The artist behind the bread tag project is Shawnee Nottingham, and she makes really cute sculptures from her bread tags, like a slice of watermelon or a cactus. And I will post some of those up so you can see how they look. If anyone knows of other organizations or artists who are collecting bread tags in other parts of the world, please let me know, and I'm happy to add them to the show notes. I have been collecting bread tags for many years, but even then, my collection is very tiny. It fits inside a shoebox. It really takes quite a long time to gather enough bread tags to do a larger project like a mosaic. Now let's switch gears and talk about things that you can do with your bread tags. There's a bunch at the beginning here that are kind of everyday little uses of 1 or 2 bread tags. So the first one is you can put it at the end of a roll of tape so you don't have to use your fingernail to start the new piece of tape. You can stick them on the pages of a book to make tabs so you can quickly find a spot in the book. You can label cords that are hanging behind a desk so you don't have to guess which cord goes with each device. When you serve wine, you can write people's names on them and put them on the stems of the glass so people can find their own glass. These are sometimes called wine charms. If you wear the type of flip-flop that has a little piece that goes between your toes and that part breaks at the bottom, you can put a little bread tag under there to hold that part in place. In Australia, they call these thongs. You can use it as a guitar pick. You can make a shaker toy or abacus, and I have some pictures of those, how to make those up on my Pinterest board. Now, the blog Raising Dragons made an alphabet or math activity by writing letters or numbers on the bread tags. And in one activity, they made it a lot more fun, like a game, by picking up the bread tags by sucking through a straw and then lifting them into a cup. Now, Amanda Formaro has a very cute style that she applies to bread tags, and she makes monsters, gingerbread people, and snowmen. She paints the bread tags first, and then she adds details, including eyes, googly eyes, that kind of thing. And if you're a Girl Scout leader or a Girl Guide leader, this might be a really great idea for a craft to make swaps, if you add a pin on the back. Now, you might remember Noah Scalin. I mentioned him back in the episode on shoes. He wrote a book called Skull a Day, and skull number 24 was a bread tag skull, a design that he made from 3 white bread tags and some safety pins. There's lots of designs up on the web showing how people use bread tags to decorate birthday cards. And also, I really like the work of an artist called Ismael Cavazos. He noticed that there is some variability in the little cutout shape of bread tags. Sometimes they look like a heart, and sometimes they look like an X, or there's a bunch of other shapes. And Ismael looks at those and he doodles on or around the bread tags. Sometimes he draws 2 hands cupped in the shape of a heart, or he makes little creatures. So a really cute doodling prompt is a bread tag. Now, bread tags can be very useful in building community. Besides gathering bread tags to raise funds for wheelchairs, there are artists who've done a bunch of other projects that I think could be a lot of fun to copy within a community such as a classroom. Now, the Bread Clip Appreciation Society, they made a world map from bread clips, and an Instagram account called The Eco Teacher made a periodic table of elements. S.J. Wang shared a photo on Twitter of a very cute little cat that S.J. made from a bread tag, and then a lot of other people started sharing their own designs of cats and puppies and rhinoceroses, and so it became kind of an online community discussion. Edwin Godfrey took on a project last year in 2017, which was to find a bread tag for each day of the year stamped with the date. And on his Instagram feed, Popla Tags, he posted a photo of the tag each day, and then he would make videos of them in order. And in some of the posts, he talked about how he had to go from grocery store to grocery store in order to get a tag for each day. Gavin Moores used to make giant mandalas from bread clips that were quite beautiful. And Mango Sea makes sea turtles, jellyfish, and sharks from bread tags and balloon tags. Balloon tags are those pieces that are on balloons that people purchase at the store. And unfortunately, both bread tags and balloon tags end up in the ocean. And Mango Sea picks them up off the beach and makes them into these sea creatures, which they then sell to help with education programs around making sure that we are not polluting the ocean. Here are some examples of artists who are taking bread tags, I think, to the next level. These are not projects we might be able to copy anytime soon, but you never know if you're feeling really ambitious. So Stephanie Watson sewed a wedding dress from 10,000 bread tags in 2013. It took her 300 hours to sew on all the tags. Paul Schultz is an architect who incorporates bread tags in some of his designs. One of my favorites, he made a wall in a kitchen from layers of plexiglass with bread clips suspended inside. It was very colorful, very beautiful. And he also did a public art project, again with a backlit display featuring bread tags. Anna Adair makes these awesome rings from bread tags. She stacks bread tags on top of each other, glues them, and then she drills a hole the size of a finger. Now, unfortunately, her website is not currently working. I'm super bummed about that, but I will link to a website that shows a photo of her design. Beth Taylor made planets and moons and other sculptures from melted bread tags. And then Elizabeth Savary paints wonderful scenes and portraits on bread tags. So thank you for listening. Who knew there were so many people doing creative activities with bread tags and clips? I would love to hear how you creatively reuse them, so please let me know at trashmagination@gmail.com. Until next time, may you see bread tags or clips as a source of art in your life.